Welcome to the next video in our series about the teacher preparation report cards. Now that you've had a chance to see the main features of the report in the previous video, we're now going to look at some specific sections that might be of interest to different users of the report card. In this video, we'll use the report card to answer important questions for educator preparation programs. These could be questions asked by either administrators or staff members for education preparation providers in Tennessee. We'll outline the questions of interest and then navigate through the report to relevant sections that will help you answer these questions. The first question we'll be looking at today is the following. How is my program doing in placing candidates in Tennessee jobs compared to other programs in the state? Within the report card, you can find this information for a specific education preparation provider in the employment domain. First, let's choose a provider. Now, you can click on the link for employment. There are 3 indicators within this domain, and to find information on placement rate, you can look at the first indicator, which is called the first year placement rate. This tells you how many completers from this education preparation program were placed in a Tennessee school within 1 year of receiving their initial license. To see more details, you can click on the Show Details section that has the placement rate shown for only Tennessee residents. Since some programs draw students from out of the state, this metric might give more relevant feedback to these types of programs since many students choose to return to their home state instead of teaching in Tennessee. Now let's take a little bit of a different approach. Let's say that instead of wanting to look at the scores for your specific educator preparation program on a certain metric, you wanted to see how all programs in the state did for that metric. We can do this for all questions we look at today by downloading the state data file. From the main page, you click on the Download State Data link and open the file that downloads. Once you open the file, you can then click on the tabs at the bottom. These provide information on each of the metrics. For instance, if you click on the Placement tab, at the bottom of the spreadsheet, we see the placement rates for all programs in Tennessee. We can also sort by that placement rate. If you're hoping to improve your placement rate, you might find a partner organization that you can reach out to ask about best practices that they might use in job placement. You can also do this for any of the other metrics in the report. Now let's move to the next question. Are we placing candidates in schools where there is a good fit, meaning that they stay past the first year? Within the report card, you can find this information for your program in the employment domain. First, we choose an education preparation provider. Next, you'll click on the link for employment. There are 3 indicators within this domain, and to find information on retention rate, you can scroll down to the 3rd indicator, which is called Beyond 1 Year Retention Rate. This tells you how many completers from this education preparation program stayed in the same school beyond their first year. To see more details, you can click on the Show Details section that has retention rate broken down by the different programs that this program offers. We can now move to the 3rd question. How is my program doing in producing candidates that are in high demand endorsement areas compared to other programs in the state? High demand endorsements include completers in areas such as special education, English language learners, and so forth. We are starting by looking at how your program did on this indicator. We first click on the report and go to the Candidate Profile domain. I can now look at the 2nd indicator, which tells me the percentage of completers with high demand endorsements. For specific endorsements, I can then click on the Show Details link and see the percentage of total completers that are within each area. Now let's move to question number 4. How are each one of my programs doing in producing candidates with good pedagogy skills? Another topic we might be interested in is how our teachers are doing once they begin teaching. Within the report card, you can find this information for your program in the Provider Impact domain. First, you'll click on the link for Provider Impact. There are 4 indicators within this domain, with the first 2 displaying how providers scored on observation. Of these, the first one tells you what percentage of completers had an overall observation score of 3 or higher. And the second indicator tells you what percentage of completers had an observation score of either 4 or 5. To see more details, you can click on the Show Details section that has observation scores broken down by the different programs that you offer. We now turn to the final question. How are each one of my programs doing in producing candidates that have high gains in student achievement? Within the report card, you can also find this information for your program in the Provider Impact domain. We first need to navigate to a report for a specific provider. While previously we scrolled down to find the program, you can also type in the name in the search box. You can then click on the link. Similar to observations, you'll click on the link for Provider Impact. There are 4 indicators within this domain, with the last 2 indicators displaying how the provider scored on gains in student achievement. This is scored using a measure called TVAS, or the Tennessee Value Added Assessment System, that seeks to measure gains in student achievement while taking into account student scores from previous years. The first indicator tells you what percentage of completers had an overall TVAS score of 3 or higher. And the second indicator tells you what percentage of completers had an overall TVAS scores of either a 4 or 5. I can click on the Show Details link to see how each one of my programs is doing as well. That wraps up how the report cards can answer some common questions for education preparation providers. Thanks for diving in with us today.